Hello loves, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Noel, and today we are baking a vanilla cake. So I'm just gonna go through whatever you need to know before you decide on baking a cake. And mostly the procedure in the beginning of baking this 1 kg vanilla cake is the same for all cakes, and that is the same thing you're gonna do as you bake your cakes. So first, I've placed a cup of sugar in my bowl that I'm going to be using to make my cake batter. Later on, I'm gonna put in half a cup of margarine, and I'll be using the Prestige margarine, or you can use the Royal margarine. It's okay, but just make sure you're using margarine, not Blue Band. So when you're putting in your margarine, make sure you fill your cup to the brim, and just to create a small bump at the top so that it can be enough for creating the beginning cake batter. And you're going to scoop it into your bowl with a spatula, so that to make sure all the butter that was in the cup goes into the bowl. Then we're gonna use a cooking stick to mix our sugar and margarine together, and we're going to do this for about 15 to 20 minutes so that our butter can increase in size. So make sure you are doing it correctly, and you have to mix it well. So as you can see, that is what I'm doing, and you're going to see how it turns out, and you're gonna tell the difference. So see, you can see the difference already, and you're just gonna keep on whisking and use a spatula to scoop out the excess that is on your bowl, just to make sure it goes in at the center of your bowl. Then after mixing your butter and your sugar, you're going to use 3 eggs, and you're gonna put your eggs one by one as you whisk. Now you're going to leave your mixing spoon or wooden spoon. Now you're going to use a whisk, and you're going to do that one by one until you're done with your 3 eggs. Then you're going to whisk it for around 5 minutes. So the second one goes into. So why are we breaking our eggs separately on a cup? So that in case your egg is spoiled, it doesn't ruin your cake batter. So right here we've already placed in our 3rd egg, and we're just whisking it for 5 minutes before we add in our other ingredients. And yeah, so here I'm whisking it to make sure it gives you the right texture, and make sure that you cannot feel any sugar at the bottom of your bowl or at the bottom of your mixture. Later on, you're going to add in 1.5 cup of self-rising flour. Yeah, so that was 1 cup, and this is now half a cup. You just want to make sure that it's the right amount, so not to put excess. Yeah, so and then you're going to add half a cup of water. Then you're going to whisk as slow as possible so that your cake will not break. So just follow the motion that I'll be taking here, slowly until you get your cake batter. Just slowly, don't try to push it, don't try to go faster, you'll just achieve your cake batter at this pace. So just keep doing it slowly, and as you can see, you've achieved your cake batter the right way it is supposed to be. So we're gonna keep on doing that as you use your spatula to scoop the butter that has spread out on your bowl, and make sure that it completely dissolves and you don't have particles that are still having flour inside all the big balls. You know them, yeah. So you're gonna keep on whisking slowly. Yeah, you're gonna do that. Then now we put our whisk aside, because now we're going to be using our spatula as we put in our flavors. So right here I'm just using my secret flavors, and we're putting that half a teaspoon of my first secret flavor, and we're also going to put that half a teaspoon too. Now the first flavor we put in drops, so this is half a teaspoon, and later on vanilla we're going to be putting 1 tablespoon, which is the only flavor you need to make a vanilla cake. The rest are just my ideas to make my cake taste better. So the important ingredient is the vanilla flavor, which we will be placing in 1 tablespoon of vanilla flavored essence. And mostly you should use the clear vanilla flavor essence instead of the dark flavor essence, because you don't want your vanilla cake to be darker. So yeah, and then you're going to mix using a spatula. So you're just going to mix it to make sure that the flavor goes in to your cake batter evenly. And right here I know you can already feel the smell of your cake, and it smells really delicious. And our cake batter is ready. Now at that point we've already preheated our oven as we are putting in our flour in our mixture. So now we're going to prepare our baking pan. So right here I'm just cutting my parchment paper that's going to fit into that 8-inch 1 kg baking pan, since you're baking a 1 kg vanilla cake. So as you can see, that is how I cut and measure my parchment paper, just to make sure it's the right size. And then you're going to mark somewhere there, and you're going to cut it all out to remain with the circular part of. So now we've cut our parchment paper. Let's now insert it into the tin, just to make sure that it's the right size. If not, we're just going to use our nails or fingers, or you can use a spoon if you don't have the right nails to cut it out. And now, after we had applied butter at the bottom of our tin, we're now applying it above our parchment paper too, after sticking in our parchment paper. I skipped that part too, but I have already explained. So yeah, so our paper has been cut. As you can see, it fits correctly into our baking tin. Now we're just going to apply butter on top of our parchment paper too, just to make sure that when our cake bakes, it does not stick on the parchment paper. That is why we butter our tin. So over here I'm using Kimbo, yeah, the solid Kimbo, and that's it. Now it's time to put in our cake batter, and you just want to pour it all at once without breaking this. So I just make sure to scoop everything out of my pan, out of my bowl into my pan. And then I'm going to tap my tin 3 times to evenly spread the butter, making sure that it does not leave spaces inside our tin. You don't want your cake to have cooked on one side and not other side. And we baked it in our oven at 140 degrees, and baked it for 40 minutes. So you can do it between 40 to 45. And that's our cake. And right here we are decorating. So that is it, guys. We used the shell stitch and the plate oh, I'm sorry guys, when I see you I used that. So we used the shell and the plate decoration, and that is the outcome of our vanilla cake. And I took a few pictures. Yeah, so don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and share. Bye.